Well, hello everyone. We got everybody on the screen here. Hi everyone. Welcome to StreamYard Tech Talk. Sorry for the silent countdown clock. We got the wrong file in there. We'll fix that for next week. Promise you a wonderful, exciting countdown clock music so you can enjoy while you wait. Hi everyone. Hi Dr. Stewart, Minu, Jaden. We got people from all over the place here. Oops, sorry. Hands off. I want to introduce Joanne Watt right down here.
Hi.
Joanne right there, who is from our marketing team and a marketing coordinator. And she is co-producing the show. She's our producer. Is going to be mostly behind the scenes today, but wanted to ask Joanne to join in and say hi and introduce herself in person.
Hey everyone, I'm excited to be a part of Daniel's show today and hope you enjoy it with Alex and Ragnar, and we will just kick it off from here.
Great, thanks Joanne. And we'll be starting the show in just a minute. I'm going to introduce Alex and Ragnar, who are very interesting producers of a show from Germany with us today. And the Alex and Ragnar show, which is all about Microsoft Teams. So we're going to talk about organization, how to organize a show when you have a co-host. They have a really detailed process. They're going to reveal it with us today. And we're going to talk about their tech and your tech and all your questions about streaming technology. So just remember, before we get started, that StreamYard is the easiest way to go and create professional live streams. But some of us love to go above and beyond, and this show is for those who like to take it the extra mile. And we'll be back right after the intro. So see you there. Hi, Ragnar. Hi, Alex. Welcome to StreamYard Tech Talk. How are you doing today?
Hey, Daniel. Thanks so much for having us here.
Very good.
Speaking of organization, I introduced both of you at once, and now you didn't know who to speak to. So I really need some advice from you about getting the shows organized, and looking forward to discussing that today. We've got lots of people from all over the world with us, as we always do. So if you're watching us today, please introduce yourself. You're welcome to ask questions throughout the show, and we will prioritize the questions and bring them in according to context. And if you use the hashtag #ask, it'll make us easier to just find the question in the stream of comments we usually get in there. So those quick notes. And Ragnar, I'll ask you maybe to just open with a quick introduction of what is your show about, what do you do, and then we'll start talking more streaming and streaming tech.
Absolutely. So our show is published and streamed every single Thursday evening, and it's all about Microsoft Teams. So we share the latest, hottest, brand new news about Teams, but we also include not only product news but also news from the community. So our show is actually made by the content and for the community, which is usually focused on the Central European community, which is speaking German. Because Alex and I, we are living in Germany, so currently we are addressing Germany, Austria, Switzerland. But sometimes, like every other month, we have speakers from the US or other countries, and it's all about Teams, and we want to focus on the target group called the passionate power user of Microsoft Teams and collaboration and communication.
Well, passionate Microsoft Teams users. Go ahead, Alex. Sorry.
What is very special, I want to say, is that we're doing this live in the evening, so at 9 p.m. So this is, I think, something special. So we don't have the usual community times at 5 p.m. or so. So we're doing it at 9 p.m. We ask our viewers what they would like to have us at which time, and they ask. 25% said in the morning, 25% said in the midday, 25% said in the afternoon, and 25% in the evening. So perfect. Exactly like this. So we decided to do it in the evening. And so we have more a character, like really a show. It's 1 hour entertaining and so on. Yeah, that's I think a little bit special for us.
That's really interesting. I think it's a great tip to just right off the bat is just ask your audience when to go live. A lot of people ask, what's the best time to go live? What's the best time to post on social media? What's the best time to send an email? The answer is everybody's different. Your audience is different. Some people, some people are at work and they don't want to watch live when they're at work. And if that's your audience, they might prefer after hours. And some people actually prefer during working hours because then later they have to deal with kids and all of that. So every audience is different, and so it's best to ask them and just ask the audience. And that's what we're asking you guys. Ask your questions. Tell us what you think. What do you like us? How would you want us to improve this show and any show? What are your tips for us as well? What would you like us to do better? We found that our users all asked for different hours, and so we have different shows at different hours. We have people in the evening. We have people in the morning. We're trying to address the Australian market as well. That's a tough one because it's exactly 12 hours away for us. So we'll get to that as well. I know you Aussies, we do think about you. So let's start with the question we always ask everybody. And that is, what is on your desk? What is your station, your streaming station look like, and what tech are you using? So the two of you today and your co-host. So let's start with Alex. Maybe let's start with you. And show us what you've got, and let's talk about that a bit.
Yeah, okay. So when we started in April doing video and more in this kind of style, we started with our show in June, I think. So we started with technical stuff, what we found. And now we have almost 7 months or 8 months later, I can say that we have a real big video studio. This is not here, as you can see. This is my home office, but we have a big video studio with many cameras and ATEM minis. I think I got every ATEM mini. The extreme one,
literally.
I already bought, but it's not here now. Yeah, I need this, of course. That's why I need a bigger video studio, because we have 8 cameras. So where should I put them? So this is one thing.
Magic shopping victim.
Yes, I love it. And yes, so this is one part in the video studio, but and it was always traveling in the evening to this video studio was not so nice. So that's why I implemented more technique here at home in my home office. That's why I'm sitting here, because we are doing the live show from this place. And as you can see, I have some Philips Hue lights in the back, just to have a nice overview and just to give you a short screen what's standing in front of me. Okay, my desk is not so fine, not so pretty, but as you can see, I'm using a Go XLR. What do you say? I don't know the English word. Misher, something where you can choose the volume. Yeah, I'm sorry. Where you can choose volume and so on. And I also have a Rode Podcaster microphone. What I also have as something new, Ragnar also has this, is a teleprompter. So it's it's much better to have the view exactly in the camera, as you can see now. And I can see myself because we have a small video monitor lying behind it. So it's possible for me to watch exactly in the camera. And this is maybe one thing that's what makes the difference. Because usually I always have to look down to manage all this stuff in StreamYard, because we cannot use the Elgato Stream Deck. Oh, sorry, I may not say that. But when we can use this might be better.
It's somewhere on the roadmap, I've heard.
Yeah, I need my mouse to do all the stuff for teasers and trailers and so on. So, but this is with my teleprompter much better. Yeah, so this is something what we have here in use.
Yeah, and that's one difference between Alex and I. So we both have teleprompters. I only purchased a teleprompter with a 7-inch external monitor, and I'm not really using it. So I've used it a few times, especially when recording videos. But for my daily or weekly live streaming purposes, I really don't use the teleprompter. So I think Alex made a better choice to invest more into what are you using? A 13? You're using the Surface Book
No,
screen.
it's a
So
13-inch
13-inch.
teleprompter, but we have an 11-inch monitor underneath. So this is critical, but it works. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's really cool. So Alex, you use the teleprompter for your live shows, and just to summarize, you use it so your eyes look right into the camera and they don't do this kind of thing.
So in our show, people are already mentioning that Alex is definitely hypnotizing them. So he's staring few. So we always use do kind of a kind of staring contest, and that definitely works.
And that's great because a lot of people, the technology is pretty straightforward and very well known of the teleprompter, but for some reason we don't think of using it for live shows. And it's definitely, and so you're able to use the teleprompter also to see the comment section and all the interface and manage it correctly. That is fantastic. That is really, really great. And you said that a 13-inch teleprompter is enough for you. It doesn't need to be bigger.
The teleprompter is 13-inch, but the monitor in it is 11-inch, and this is might be 2-inch too small. So if it's possible for you, when you want to buy a teleprompter, try to find something in 13-inch. It's much better because it's not possible to have so much on screen. When you use StreamYard, you will need to start the trailers and to click all around the banners, and so it's a little bit too small. But it works for me. I'm used to it now. So also 11-inch might be okay, but 13 might be better.
Yeah, and I saw Christian was mentioning here that he's fidgeting with the window location and everything, so it sort of sits under the camera. It's a known problem. I have the same thing, and there's so many people try different arrangements to make it work. So interesting tech choices. What are some things you purchased, hardware or software, that you later regretted that maybe we shouldn't buy? Give us some warnings here.
First of all, what I bought, well, we need to see Ragnar's setup because it's much better than mine here. But what I have done is not for the live streaming show, but I'm also a consultant for Microsoft Teams. So I stand in my video studio, and the main problem was that I need to hear the people in the meeting, and there should not be an echo. Because echo cancellation sometimes is not so good in big video studios for Microsoft Teams. So I bought a wireless in-ear headset. I don't know, micro. And wirelessly from Shure. And I think this was a little bit too much because I tried something different out, and it works also right now very fine when we have the echo cancellation in Microsoft Teams. I don't know why. Sometimes it did not work in summer last year, so I bought this in-ear monitor, but I don't need it anymore. I just use it right now for my Go XLR and just to talk to you right now. This is much easier because you cannot see it so good in my ears. Yeah. So that's one point what I think need to be better. And of course, I have some places of ATEM minis now in my office because I always have to sell a new one when they bring them out. One of this is at Ragnar's place right now. He should also need one, and I got him mine because I have too much now.
So we'll ask Ragnar to show his deck as well, but I wanted to just quickly touch base and Wolfram Borchers. Sorry if I butchered your name, Wolfram. Which teleprompter do you have? Which specific model?
Yeah, that's a problem now because I just have an Amazon link. I don't know really the name, but I will find it out maybe when Ragnar is talking now. I will.
But we know Wolfram,
this
so we're going to find him.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know him well. Yeah.
Excellent.
It's a small world in the streaming community.
Okay. What about your what's on your desk?
So I usually need a few seconds here to get away into my how do you say,
mobile phone?
I'm currently using a GoPro, And this is my GoPro where I can show my desk. So let's start here with the Atom. I'm an old school guy. I'm using still the Atom Mini, which is not the Pro version and not the ISO version. It's the first generation, the Dommel Mini. But currently for my purposes, it's pretty working fine. Then moving to the microphones. Here I'm using a a Shure SM7B microphone, and I'm very happy with it. So first I started using a Biodynamic Fox, which is a nice USB microphone, but then it was broken and I have to give it back into the warranty process, and then it took me a few weeks to get it back. And while waiting to get it repaired, I had to purchase another one. So I went directly here for the Shure SM7B, and I'm very happy with it. And I'm driving it within Scarlett Focusrite, which is just here. So that's my usual setup. And I'm also using the fathead to make the sound a little bit richer and give more gain. I'm using a hell lot of headphones. This is usually the one which I'm using with the Focusrite. I'm also having a few other headsets. Then I'm using, as you can see, 2 monitors, one extra ultra wide and then one 4K monitor. So I could not live without 2 monitors. So one single screen is for me completely impossible. On the camera side, I'm using here a Sony Alpha 6400, and this is connected, thanks to Alex's recommendation, to a Manfrotto tripod, or how do you call this tripod, which is not having 3?
It's like an arm or a camera arm.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so like I think it's called Magic Arm, and that's a great investment. So I always needed to change my position. It's quite expensive, but it really was worth it, and it's super, super stable. So you can easily see, my main recommendation is always buy the more expensive product because they're super stable. This guy from Manfrotto, not 40 euros, it's 140, but it's super stable because I don't want that my Sony Alpha is going to fall off my desk. On the light side, I've got an LED panel, which is my fill light. And I've got a larger 80 watts, which is my key light. So I'm working here with a key light, 80 watts, and a smaller LED panel. In the back, I have got some Yeti. Oops, sorry, my camera. I've got some Yeti things to give some nice kind of background lights. And the background lights can be, here I've got all the different colors which I can use for my background lights. Then I've got a bunch of tablets, which I'm usually used to connect also to NDI. So sometimes I need cameras using NDI, and then I'm using here my iPad and my Android tablet. I'm using also my Surface laptop. So just in case I want to show different other screens, then I'm connecting my laptop using an USB-C cable to HDMI and then going directly back into my Atom Mini. So that means, to summarize, with my Atom Mini, I'm driving my main camera, and then I'm driving the GoPro, which I'm holding currently in my hand. I'm driving my Surface laptop to give an additional demo, and I'm doing this scenario to decrease the workload from my main PC, so that my presentations and media files are running from my laptop and not on my streaming PC. So that reduces the workload. And here, what I really like is to connect the different devices here using NDI and camera. But then with NDI, I'm sometimes using a different solution and not StreamYard because NDI support is not there. But that's a different story. So that's my setup, and also StreamYard. As you can see,
we don't mention the N word here.
We don't mention the
there's an NDI because it gets a small number of people very excited about something that's really not important to our audience, and and it's a joke. So this is, again, I just wanted to whenever we show people's tech setup, I want to remind everybody here, you don't need all of this, right? You don't need any of this. It's nice to have a nice microphone. It's nice to have good lighting. It's nice to have better shows, and it's nice to get excited and do things. But all you need is a laptop and StreamYard, and everything.
Or a mobile phone. Yeah. So that also works fine. And I'm so happy that that StreamYard is supporting mobile phones, because if something would crash and that my PC is crashing or my browser or something, I can directly jump on my mobile phone and continue the show. So that's for me so important, and that would not work with this other kind of environment, which we use, which has got 3 letters and so on. So here I can more focus on the actual show, because if something goes wrong, I literally just grab my mobile phone and continue.
Yeah,
that is very
reference
relieving.
Yes, and so I did want to say that our something that we don't advertise much or we don't market much is that our StreamYard's mobile phone usage is extremely stable. And in fact, I think it's the only stable solution for mobile and browser for multi-streaming and mobile. Yeah. There are other apps you can buy, etc. None of them are good. They're just not. And if you try to go through something like OBS or something more complicated, it's just a nightmare. It's a big mess. And so if we've seen people on the show that use StreamYard just on the mobile phone because they want to save on cost. And the phone has a great camera and a great mic. And that's all you need. And so instead of buying a computer, they buy a phone, and it works. Patrick is asking.
That's one thing which So really, that's something what I definitely can sign. We are running our shows since 27 shows. Alex is also hosting a few other shows, so I think we've run more than 40 shows using StreamYard without any single issue. Zero, nothing. It just went perfect. No single crash, no single buffering, something. So just perfect.
It's we had 100% uptime last year, 100%. So not a single crash. We don't. We're afraid of saying that, because the minute we'll say that, it'll go down to like 99 or something. So we're like, absolutely. Any issues that come up are usually on the side of Facebook, YouTube, etc. They have issues. We never do.
Patrick, my camera is a Sony Alpha 6400.
Yep, the 6400, and any Sony Alpha 5000, I think, or 5000 and above will work great. They're all the same, except they have more stuff that you might not need for live streaming, right? But the 6400 is nice in the sense that it gets that the screen in the back can flip over. And so you touch screen, if you need to modify any of the settings on the camera, you can do it while you're looking like this. You don't have to get up, go in the back, change it, come back to the front, which is what I do because I have the 6000. But is it worth the extra money? Up to you. Okay, so let's talk about the main theme of today, which is the show structure and organizing a show when you have 2 co-hosts. So you said you're gonna reveal your very detailed and very structured process today, and I'm very eager to hear what that is.
So let's start with the brainstorming process about how we are brainstorming about every first of all, what we find out is it takes us away so much time and effort to have a structure in our show. So we always have the same structure. We have an introduction part, 5 minutes. Then we bring the first guest on stage. Then we talk around, let's say, 20-25 minutes. And then we usually have a second guest. We also have always a raffle prize. We always have community events where we share all the latest, hottest webinars and events around our focus group and community. And we always include, comments and so on. And this kind of structure helps us to organize every single show. And Alex and I, we brainstorm, and that's the bit of an ugly story, in every single channel. So sometimes we're using WhatsApp, then we're moving to LinkedIn messages. We're using Teams, we're using email, we're using WhatsApp. A phone call. So we're using like 10 different channels to just brainstorm who could we invite, what's the show about, which raffle prizes could we organize. So we have all the different channels available day and night, and on the weekend. It's from the work-life balance an ugly story because we communicate like 16 hours a day. But it's nice. We enjoy it.
how far in advance do you brainstorm the show, the episode? Is it the day before, a month before? Do you have them all lined up, planned ahead of time?
So we have to, of course, because we have guests in our show, we need more time before. So it's mostly like this, that we have 14 days, 21 days, so 3 weeks in front. We know the guests that will come to us because they need to have time. So we have to ask them before, and as you do also. And so this is one point, finding the right guests and that they need to have time. This is the main point, because the second part in the show, and as Ragnar said, we have a straight structure. This is very good for us because we know what will come, what we need to fill. And the second part is sometimes a guest, or we have now 2 people that help us, like co-hosts, with special topics. So we have one, Mr. Power Magic, that is somebody who is helping us. Andreas Schlüter is helping us with Power Apps in Teams. What can you do there? So every 2 weeks, he will be there in the show and give some new content, best practices to the people who are watching. And we have Eric. Eric is helping us on Teams hardware devices. So he will come every 4 weeks with some new updates. So this is where people help us to produce content, So we have our guests, and sometimes we have also own content that we produce. Teams is so much with so much new stuff every week what we can introduce here. So this is no problem to find content, but we need to do this almost 3 weeks in front. I think the shortest what we've done is on Thursday before the show, we find the guest for the next week. But this was really the shortest period of time we had to plan the show. So,
but for me, it's one of the most important things to keep the joy of live streaming, because I'm not in the role of delivering a webinar where I have to talk like 60 minutes and just talk and talk and talk. I jump directly into the role of a moderator, and I'm the host. I'm inviting guests and they can talk. So and that's something what I really enjoy. Otherwise, if I would have just a webinar streaming live, I wouldn't do it every single week. So that's for me a very big part to get my motivation ongoing.
And one part is also very important because Ragnar said we have prizes that you can win. That's also a main point in our show. And this is really funny because we had started with always with good headsets and so stuff. So it's a little bit hard to always find good prizes. But yeah, now sometimes we have some guests who will show their products around Microsoft Teams. Of course, they sponsor a little bit. But this is also, I think, a real good point where people always come to us to have this entertaining character, and they also can win something. So, of course, they are not watching thousands of people of our show, maybe later on in record, but in live, not. So there's always a possibility to win something nice here in our show.
And the participation is actually pretty high. So I think, Alex, we have around 80% of our attendees are also joining the raffle. Is it right? Yeah.
Minimum.
So it's very high. So we always have very good prizes. So every sponsor who listens now, thanks so much for sponsoring.
Exactly.
That's really great. So you got sponsors to give the prizes. That's so smart, and it's great. I mean, it makes the show so much livelier. We give our own prizes, and all of you out there, you can win a StreamYard mug if you use the hashtag #LoveStreamYard. At any time during the show, we'll pick at the end of the show. We always do a cool mug, just as a thank you for being here with us and make it fun, like you said. We try to make it fun, but I think you guys probably do a better job because you bring in. I love how you have the segment in there with a guest that breaks it up a bit, so it's not the same people talking over and over again. So you do your brainstorm ahead of time. And then what do you put in the document? What does that look like? Do you have a run of the show document? Where do you take it from there?
Well, that was really fun. When we had the first show, I had made a big book in OneNote, what we want to do in every minute, and so something like a storybook. And as we have now the structure, it's more easy for us. We don't have to talk about what we want to do in which minute. So it's totally clear now after
It's
all
flowing,
this
yeah.
time.
Yeah.
It's just a flow. And so what we need is, of course, we need the guests and which guests will come at which time. So this is a little bit, we could do that better, but we have a OneDrive share, so where we put our file structure, and always in every date is an Ragnar, what is it, Ordner? Translated?
A
Folder,
file
sorry.
archive. Yeah.
We have a folder, and
folder,
this
yes.
folder is a date. So this is the streaming date, and after this comes the name from the guest, so that we have clear where is when guest. In one view, we can see, okay, there's a guest missing. That's a problem. And in this folder, we can find all the information we need. We have a small film that comes always up, like in your show here, where we start and have some time in an intro, because people start coming to the show, of course. And so this is all in this folders in there. Yeah. So this is how we structure just a shared OneDrive.
And
I
one
think
important thing is also scheduling. So Alex is always doing the preparation of announcing and scheduling the next show, usually on a Sunday night, and our show is on Thursday evening. So we always have like 5 days to do a lot of social media around the scheduled show. So we would never ever schedule on the same day. So with these 5 days, every single day we just give a push on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. Everywhere. So that's for us very important to every single day push it and mention, hey, listen, tune in Thursday, 9:00 p.m.
And maybe a good tip for all of you watching. What I have to say is that doing it every week helps to find more people watching the show, to have this steady every week we come there. When I think of the start, we had around 25 or 30 people watching us, and now we always, just when the show starts at 9 p.m., we immediately have 40 people in the show watching for the first 10 seconds. There are 40 people already waiting to start the show, and in the show, I think we have around 70 to 80, sometimes 100 people watching live. So this is just because we are coming every week, and they know there's our time, and they know the structure.
That's
so
a
I think
big
this is very important for
absolutely.
you when you start streaming. Try to find a repeating date where they know they will find you.
Yeah, I think that's important. I was wondering about that myself. Do people care the fact that we pre-schedule Tech Talk like this, or do they just show up because they see the notification that StreamYard is going live? And last week I was supposed to be on vacation. I wasn't, so we didn't have an episode for Tech Talk. And somebody actually posted in a Facebook group, wait, no Tech Talk this week? And somebody else answered, Daniel must be on vacation. And I thought that was so nice. It really touched me that people cared, and they really wanted to see it, and because they were used to it. So I think it echoing what you're saying, it does make a big difference. Going live, I don't know that, and pre-scheduling and being more or less consistent. And I've known with another show I do that once we tried. We do it. It's an evening show. We tried it during the morning one time because a guest requested, and it didn't really work that well. People just get used to a certain routine, right?
Yeah.
At least
the biggest compliment, the biggest compliment what we get sometimes is they say, listen, it's Wednesday and I cannot wait that it's going to be Thursday, because this is one of the highlights of our week, because we are living, sorry to mention it, we're living still in a global pandemic. People are just staying at home. They are in a lockdown, and we are their new favorite bar around the corner, which is currently closed. So we are part of their lives, and we are part of their spare time. And I couldn't be more grateful that we are part of their spare time. So for me, it's a very big compliment.
And this just works because of this great technology from StreamYard that we can have all the comments in the show. It doesn't depend on which streaming destination. So this is so cool to have everybody. We have 8 streaming destinations, and we have everybody's comment in the show, and we always try to show every comment or comment every comment, so that we get more interaction. And I think this is also a point what's very important as you do it here, of course, too, to involve the people. Otherwise,
And ask
it's
questions.
just like television, and so there's no interaction.
Exactly.
Right.
And ask questions also. So when we have our guests invited, I always ask, like minimum like 5 questions. Hey, please, what is your question around this topic to our guest? What is and that's something which works well. Our guests love it when they get the questions from the audience. For Alex and myself, it's much easier because we don't have to invent all the new fancy questions. And that's the way how we get into this flow. So participation is everything. Yeah.
There are a couple of questions here from the audience, but I wanted to quickly just share my screen and show the organization of run of the show that we did, and just make more transparent the process we had getting this show today ready. First of all, thank you, Jennifer, for your comment and your kind comment that you really enjoy watching the show. I appreciate it so much that you have it set up in your calendar. For the most part, Tech Talk was just something that I was doing myself, and I had it in my head, and so I didn't need any kind of formal organization, and I just had this routine where I knew, okay, first I do the intro, the countdown, then the intro. I didn't need any written documentation for it. And then Joanne said that who she wants to help out with the production, and I was like, that's great. And I realized, okay, I have to put all of this into writing. So we created a run of the show document, and it's pretty simple, right? It's pretty straightforward. But it's a bit loose enough so it works, right? And so we don't have to go too structured with it. But you can see for each segment here, we have a name for the segment, so we know where we're at, and we share this with our guests. So Alex and Ragnar saw this, and they can see where we're at in the show at any given moment. And then we have which media is going to play. So we have a countdown timer, like post a link, right? And as you can see, we didn't follow it exactly, but that's okay. And then we have notes for each other, like make sure to show the comments or make sure not to show the comments at this section, little tips and things that you learn along the way. And different questions we can ask, and then different topics in here, et cetera, and how to close. And that's it, pretty straightforward. But we can, it allows the host to know, to kind of stay in focus, get back on topic. It allows the co-host, if there's a co-host, to stay on sync and know where they're at, and no real plan. If things are lingering for a moment, they can kind of jump in and hasten a bit with the next question, right? And if there's a producer knows what to expect next and what's about to do, and you don't have to, how when sometimes you're watching a presentation and the presenter is saying next slide, please. I think that's the worst thing possible to experience as a viewer, right? And so having a good run of the show will avoid any of these kind of issues if you have it done right and you're kind of synced well.
Yeah, it's important to have a very clear understanding who does what. So for example, in our show, we always have one part where Alex is caring about the raffle prize winner and kicking off the random thing to find out the winner, and then I'm just leading the conversation more. So I know every time, okay, now he's going into the raffle prize, and now I'm going. So it's all about communication, but this needs to be clear. So we have a lot of meta communication, how we should who does what, and then it's easier, and we don't have to do the meta communication inside the show.
But it's very easy.
We always have chats open. So usually we always use the private chat here in StreamYard to navigate and so on. And if we're not, so that's very important. Communicate. And if something goes wrong, then sometimes we mention it, but we try to hide it.
So I have a question for you here from David, who's asking, what kind of things have you done to grow your audience? It's a great question.
Exactly. First of all, what I said is repeating the date. So always do it on the same time and date, and to do it to announce this on social media, of course, very much. it's more easy for us because Ragnar and me, we have some followers on LinkedIn and other social media. So of course we have a big reach there, but not everyone, of course, is watching this. What also helped us, what I think, is to produce in different networks. So we also had a part like a content what we produced for another person who is doing a live show on Sunday. It's Sascha Pallenberg. He's very famous here in Germany, and so we produced content for him. So that was also something that we could promote. So maybe when you know other streamers, just help each other to get a different network. It's very important to leave your own network to find new people. They will find you, see you then to follow, that they could follow you. So this might be also a solution.
Right.
Yeah, and we always, I think every single week, Alex, we are brainstorming, how we can address or how we can grow our network by changing the topics. Sometimes we have very hardcore technical topics. We go into Microsoft Teams devices and hardware and so on, very deep. And then sometimes we have softer topics where we talk about resilience, change management, adoption. We also try to invite every single month a woman, which is not so difficult and which is not so easy in our tech world. So in the perfect world we would have every other week a female guest, but that's currently a bit more difficult. But that's one of our focus goals here, to really increase diversity, have different topics, and not only doing a deep tech talk, but also increasing the topics. That's one thing. And please, Daniel.
I just wanted to jump in on this important topic because you bring up a point that is very painful to me. Tech Talk has been dominated by male guests, and this is completely not by any kind of design. Every single guest we've had has been kind of approached us inbound and just requested to be on the show, and we've said pretty much yes to anybody who has something to share. But as you've seen, it's been mostly male, and so we want diversity, not just of gender. We want any kind of diversity, walks of life, geography, different subject matters, experts, different shows of different types. We have StreamYard community is so diverse. We have everything from drag shows being put on. We've got politics. We've got sports. We've got anything you can imagine, Microsoft Teams. The whole world uses StreamYard for all kinds of different things. And so we really want to have a diversity of guests. So please, if you're watching and you are, and you bring a diverse perspective, we would love to have you on the show, as long as it fits within the topic of the Tech Talks series. Yeah, so sorry to interrupt. I really wanted to put out that message there because it is important.
No, that's one of the most important messages. So, thanks, Daniel. To also grow the audience, as we mentioned, we have raffle prizes, and when the person receives the raffle prizes by mail, then we also encourage to share a little photo and mention us in their tweets, LinkedIn, Facebook, and so on messages to really give a little bit more awareness about what we're doing. So we have a quite comprehensive social media activities running. So actually we are mentioning our show every single day somehow. We don't want to overstress it, but at least one single push every day is what we are achieving. And also to grow the audience, and is all about asking the audience, what would you like to see in one of the next shows? What should be the topic? What should be the speaker? Or who should be the speaker? What should be about? So I'm a big believer in this thing called working out loud. And here I can be very transparent and definitely ask the audience, what would you like to see and learn? Because the show is made just for you.
Appreciate that. That's great. But I do have another question as we're getting closer to the end of the show here. Oh, here's a question from the audience. How do you keep your audience engaged, from Marissa? How do you keep your 55 viewers from not closing your live? And I think you mentioned you have sometimes over 100 viewers. That's a very tough question. That's a very good question. And so as I'm watching the numbers fluctuating here up and down, what are your techniques?
Yeah, well, I don't know if I have a good answer there because we don't really know it. I need to mention because, well, maybe it is the point that we have this straight structure. It's about 25 minutes a guest, and we have always different guests. So it might be interesting for you, it might be not. I don't know. But if it's not interesting, it's over after 25 minutes, and then you will have a different part. And often this is something about Teams updates or whatever. So this is why the people watching. So it's something about the product or Mr. Power Magic is coming. So it's always something is in the show what might be interesting for you. And at least when it's nothing, it might be the price. So this could be the answer here, to have so different slots in this show. So everybody might be interested in one of the slots.
Yeah, that's important because actually our show was born in spring last year because of a webinar fatigue, and Alex and myself, we were really clear that we say, listen, if we go into the evening spare time, the only thing what we don't want to do is have another webinar in the evening, because then nobody will like to show up and watch it. So it needs to be interactive, entertaining, and inclusive. And that was one of the reasons why we were asking so many questions, and also having these different topics, because in a webinar, 60 minutes, one topic, and we're focused on running the show around 45 minutes, and then having like 4 or 5 different chapters.
I love that chapter approach, and I think I was thinking that we should do the same now that Joanne is helping me out here with the show, or rather, I should say, we're both producing the show, just have different roles. I'm in front, and she in the camera. I happen to be in front of the camera, but now we have the ability to actually structure the show with segments, little intros and outros between the segments. And each segment can have a separate little focus and topic. So instead of, it doesn't have to be, we don't have to bring in more guests. We just have to structure it in a way that gives little breaks and a little more Sesame Street style. And if we can bring more guests in one show, I think it's always better. So I really applaud you for figuring that out and doing it. I see I think that's a number one technique that is not implemented well enough there. Like, make sure to constantly keep the show moving and have clear segments, and not forgetting, I think number one thing is not forgetting that people jump in and out of the show all the time. So you might see that number on the screen that shows as if it's a more or less consistent number, but it's not the same people. So for those of you, that's just a quick cue. For those of you joining in with us here, this is StreamYard Tech Talk. We're talking about streaming tech and how to use what our customers at StreamYard do with what kind of technology do they have surrounding their StreamYard shows, and how do they use it. So that's what this is about. But you're welcome to join and subscribe and see all the other shows we have as well, so you just subscribe to the channel and you'll get alerts. And if you're on Facebook, you have to make sure to get that little notify me every time StreamYard goes live, and so on and so forth. So it's great to have you guys here. This is some great info and great tips, and really some great experience you guys are sharing. I have another question for you, sort of to wrap up the show today, and that is, there's a bit of an irony here. You guys have a show about Microsoft Teams, and Microsoft Teams has a streaming feature, but yet you're using StreamYard. So without trying to sound too promotional, I just wanted to hear, what is the true reason that you're using StreamYard here and not Microsoft Teams?
So should we say the number one reason?
Yeah.
So my personal number one reason is social media comments, embedding of all comments wherever they are from: Twitch, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Periscope, and so on. That's the most important reason why I prefer StreamYard, because I love this interaction with the audience so much, and that's not possible using Microsoft Teams. Reason number one. Alex, pick number two.
Yeah, number two is, of course, we have different streaming targets. So in Microsoft Teams, we have only our links that we could show to the world. And of course, in StreamYard, we can use 8 different target targets where we can stream to. And this is also one great possibility to reach a bigger network, of course, because where people are on social media, also in the evening, watching, scrolling, and so they might see us there on social media, and they wouldn't find our link when it's just published somehow. Yeah, so they will stop scrolling and see us, and maybe start watching. Yeah, this is also one big point.
That is
reason number 3 would be that if you use Microsoft Teams live events, then everybody who is going to be on the stage needs to be as a presenter before you really run it. If the show is running, you cannot add any single person. And sometimes we have the version that we want to put or to add somebody from the audience to our stage. And using StreamYard, we would just share a private link, and then somebody could just jump on the stage and be with us. In Teams, completely impossible.
Yeah. And so what we also do sometimes is that we watch live shows like the Microsoft Ignite next week. We're producing, so if we put the live stream from Microsoft in StreamYard, and we are also in, so we comment on what we are watching. So this is not something special. I know many people do this, but this is much easier to do when you use StreamYard. Because we have much better quality. When we share videos in Teams, this is with sound. This is not so nice. This is also one good possibility to have more guests in the show and watch this live event together. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think Microsoft Teams is sometimes a little bit over processed to make everything, on a similar level, and then the audio quality is much better here in StreamYard, and also video, because Teams is offering 720, and you're offering 1080p, so also better video solution, which is very important, especially when you stream to YouTube and people are watching us on a large television at home. Because, as I mentioned, we're streaming in the evening times, and we want to be part of their living room, because we're not in the home office or working from home office anymore.
I think that's
another
a great
reason. Let me just put the last reason. What did I want to mention? Alex, do you have something more?
No,
I just had something in my mind. But I think these are the most important aspects, actually.
Yeah, well, also banners and trailer intros, and so this is so easy to use in StreamYard, of course. This is not used for Teams. This is no.
And the structure. So here we can easily, switch around a bit between all the different layouts. And in Teams, there is just one single layout. And here we can have all the fancy layouts, the backgrounds, the banners. Yeah, so. Yeah, that's a very good point. And then if you're producing a Microsoft Teams live event and the system would crash, like your PC would crash or something, then the show would go down. And with StreamYard, you would literally jump on your mobile and just continue.
Yeah, this is great.
This happened to me 3-4 weeks ago. We had the big internet blackout here on the East Coast, and we were with Alex Letau, and my internet just went berserk, and they just kept going. And I could jump in and out of the show, and whenever I had internet, eventually I gave up, and they just let them finish the show. But they had, the show kept going, and that's amazing. So even if you log out and there are no guests on the show, if you never hit that end broadcast button, the broadcast will keep going for 15 minutes, even if there's nobody and no activity on the show. That's a great value for you guys out there. So we've reached a point in the show where we hand out a StreamYard mug. I don't have a photo of it here with me, and I didn't bring my mug today. You know what happens? My family all want to use my StreamYard mug because it's oversized. It's really nice and big. And it's enough to have enough coffee in there to stay warm for a whole hour of a show. So it's either somebody else is drinking from it or it's in the dishwasher. And so I never actually get to use it on the show. I should get another couple of mugs here. Use the hashtag #LoveStreamYard. Or you could just write "I love StreamYard," but we like the hashtag because then we can search for it and look for it everywhere, and it's kind of fun, and everybody can see all the different community members, and they can find each other. So use that hashtag, and let's say Alex, you can pick one of the winners in just a minute, or from the list here. Just scroll up and pick somebody either at random or somebody or at your choice. And I did want to give a quick shout out to Joanne again here in the back room, doing all of the producing that you're seeing here is Joanne. I've done absolutely nothing except host an interview. So thank you so much, Joanne. I really look forward to seeing what we can do together here and really try some new best practices and as a team on StreamYard. That's really interesting to me, and share that with all of you guys. And another thing, if you were looking, I think it was Ragnar was mentioning, or maybe Alex was mentioning before, finding other streamers and broadcasters to get outside of your network. You can do that in the StreamYard community group on Facebook. Look for the official community group. There's so many out there that are fantastic. That's just not the official group. And so look for the official group. There are about 20,000. Actually, I think we'll be 20,000 tomorrow. And about 20,000 streamers in there. You can go in and just make a post and say, hey, I'm looking for guests for my show, or I'm looking to be a guest on your show. And we'd be very happy for you to do that and to find other people. Be as specific as you can as to what it is that you're looking for or looking to do. So it's easier for people to find the right match. And that's it. Alex, do you have a winner for us?
Yes, I think I will show it in the show right now, correct?
If you can, that'll be amazing. Yes.
Yeah, so Cheryl, I think you won.
Yay.
Hi, Cheryl.
Hey, Cheryl.
All the best.
Hey, Cheryl. Congratulations, nice, Cheryl. Thank you so much, Alex. Thank you, Cheryl. And just email marketing@streamyard.com and we will get that out to you. You can send us your address, all of that stuff. We'll get it right out to you. Or DM me or Joanne right now if you see us, if you have access to our profiles right there. Any last words? Anything you wanted to say or to share about how people can find your show, where they can find it if they're interested in a show in German?
Yeah, so it's all about our names. We should change our names so it's easier. Oh, sorry.
Oh yes,
it's easier. Oh, what I'm doing here. I want to change my name. So it's easier to find us on social media and of course on YouTube. Where's my name now?
No, it's
the name we removed. I think no, it says show display names. Maybe it's gone when we have comments on.
Yeah, that might be. So turn the comments off. Yeah. So
the banner was on. That's what it was.
And I changed Ragnar also. So you will find us on our names, of course, on social media, also on Facebook, on YouTube. We have our own YouTube channels. Everybody has his own. So we are streaming always to both YouTube styles. So yeah, you can find also some English shows. So if you're interested in how we do this, just watch out for our English shows. We have around, 4 or 5 we have in English. It's always on the top. You can see this is the English show. So just have a watch on our structure, what we have, our trailers, what we do. So if maybe it's inspiring you to do this mainly the same. Yeah, it's a possibility. So don't watch out for the English ones.
Fantastic. Thank you, everybody, for joining in. And if we didn't get to answer your questions today, or if you wanted more, there are other shows that might be great places for you to ask questions. We have just subscribe to the channel and you'll find them. We have Christian, who does Saturday mornings. God bless Christian, who's spends a Saturday morning for very long shows, really answering lots of questions in details. We have got Learn with StreamYard in the community group, where we have more tutorial style and more in-depth kind of step-by-step how to do all kinds of different things. We've got the town hall, with Dan and Gage, of course, every Sunday night. You can join those as well. Ask any question you want about features and what features you would like. That's a very popular show. People love that show and join it. It's extremely popular. We have hundreds of participants every weekend on that show, and a few more shows coming as well. So just check them out. You can find them on whatever channel you're watching right now. Just scroll through and you'll find some more shows, and just jump in on the next one and ask any questions you might have. Thank you, everybody,
And
for
obviously,
joining.
Alex and myself, we are part of the StreamYard Facebook group. So if you have any questions, just jump to the StreamYard Facebook group and mention us. We are very easy to reach.
Thanks. Yes, perfect. Perfect. Yeah. So tag Alex or Ragnar if you have any questions for them, and find them in the Facebook group. We do. I've had a bunch of people ask me about the guitar, so we will do something about music at some point, and so on. But as I need to get a little bit better at it first. And there are lots of musicians that play live. We'll do a segment about that. Maybe we'll do a tech talk about music and live streaming. But I think for today we've wrapped it up, and I think we're good to go. We'll see you all next week.
Bye-bye.